All right, you made it to Friday, August 15th, heading into the Alabama weekend. Rain chances continue to go down, heat levels continue to rise, and we have our first hurricane of the 2025 season. We're going to talk about all of it right now. Time's about 3:25. Heat advisories in place for a big chunk of the country. Not a surprise. We have a ridge building to our west, and that's leading to higher heat levels, the hottest of which will stay to the west of here. But heat advisory included for parts of central Alabama, though, we've been pretty much below heat advisory criteria, which is a heat index up to 105. And that is certainly not in place for many spots here today. Here's a look at temperatures, and the reason I outlined that area on the state is that's where it's actually hot. So Monroeville, Demopolis, Tuscaloosa, Hamilton, as of recently, has dropped down below 90 degrees. But all these places have been in the 90s this afternoon. And again, we're looking at a big difference from one side of the state to the other. 76 in Sylacauga, 77 in Auburn, 79 in Dothan. So obviously we got rain afoot, right? Interesting how this is set up today because we've got, let me skip on past that here. We have a lot of rain in East Alabama and not a whole lot of rain anywhere else. So something else to watch. These are called outflow boundaries. You see those little green lines that are moving away from the storms? That is the cool air that comes out of a thunderstorm as all that rain comes to the ground. Temperatures in the upper clouds are very, very cold. So as the rain falls and comes down, that colder air comes down with it in that downdraft, and that cooler air, as it rushes out, creates an outflow boundary. And a lot of times we will see these thunderstorms, what we call backbuild, or form off of that boundary. And even though the storms are moving east, they may develop back to the west. So I always thought that was kind of cool. But a lot of lightning with these, brief microburst. We had one warning earlier for Shelby and Talladega counties, but since then, not really been an issue. Very heavy rain for Sylacauga, Childersburg, Chelsea, and a lot of northeastern Shelby County there along 280 up to Inverness. And Vincent was one of the areas under a severe thunderstorm warning earlier. Another good batch of rain up near Heflin, Anniston, and right there in western Cleburne County. Down to the south, too, Troy, Luverne, Andalusia, northern parts of Covington County, Brantley, all seeing some thunderstorms as well. Again, big thing with these, lots of lightning. So let's go into Saturday. Not a whole lot of anything happening. We've got, as I've mentioned before, we have this ridge that's built back to the west, and that is going to subdue our rain chances. Not mean zero. It is very hard to have no rain chance in the summertime. It's hot. What does heat do? Causes the air near the surface to warm, to rise. You have rising air, you have condensation, you can almost always have a thunderstorm. And that is possible into the Alabama weekend, though it'll be very sparse, sporadic, and you have a better chance of staying dry than you do of having the rainfall. With that said, 2 to 8 o'clock in the afternoon, evening will be our best bet for that, with any rain dying down quickly thereafter. So NDFD data showing pretty low coverage tomorrow, 15 to 30% in all those areas in the light green, with a slightly higher 30 to 45% for Troy, Andalusia, Dothan, and Mobile. Day 3, this would be Sunday or day 2, I guess, since it's Friday right now, has the northern third of Alabama omitted from rain chances. In fact, they drew this right along 2059. So good bet that we don't see a drop of rain in the northern half of the state and we stay hot by Monday. That threat drops even more so. So you get the idea. If you don't get the rain today, odds are probably not going to get it. So let's go into Monday. Let's look at the temperatures, and this kind of illustrates what I was talking about the highest heat levels to the west. Now, it's still hot. I mean, everyone has their different definition of hot, but you're talking heat index values well into the triple digits in the Ark-La-Tex region over in Texas. For us, we're going to be right around 95 degrees for several days next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as rain chances remain low. And by Wednesday afternoon to Thursday, we start to see those rain probabilities coming back up, and that'll help ease heat levels and perhaps knock down those temperatures into the upper 80s by the end of next week. Certainly a possibility, although this model is still showing Thursday temperatures at least in the low to middle 90s across central Alabama. Look at temperature outlooks. This will take us through just about the end of August, and believe it or not, we actually start to see a decrease in our average high temperature as early as next week for some in Alabama. Which is a sign that we are past, well, hopefully past the hottest time of the year. August typically is, though we're always good for a heat wave or two in September with the drier air coming in. But really leaning slightly above. We haven't really had a dramatic, well above average stretch here this summer. Tropical satellite, you could easily pick out the feature of note if I just said, hey, tell me something that looks interesting on this map. You got it right there. Hurricane Erin formed earlier today. Central pressure, 993 millibars. Not very low, not the strongest, but it is meeting hurricane criteria. That means the maximum sustained winds are at 74 miles an hour or greater. Now, when we say sustained, do you think this entire storm has 74-mile-an-hour winds? It absolutely does not. It's right within the center where it's currently trying to develop an eye. Does not have one at the moment, but when we see that, we'll know it's intensifying. And we do expect it to intensify. Before we get to that, just a little note here. This is a look at every first hurricane of the season back to 1991 with Aaron forming today. 2025 now has one, and it's the latest point for a first hurricane in the tropical season since 2015. That was Danny. It was 230 days into the month. This is 227 days into the month. So there we have it. We have our first hurricane. Everyone can breathe a sigh of relief, because I swear I thought people were going to go nuts because we didn't have our first hurricane yet. So there it is, and hopefully it stays away from land. So let's go now to our forecast cone, and then we'll hop back to the composite radar here. So what we're going to do is I plotted on here our winds, and this is going to be just very telling. So there's the Leeward Islands, there's the Bahamas, and as this pivots, watch how fast this is going to accelerate north. Look at the jump from Tuesday 7 a.m. to Wednesday compared to previous days. This is going to get absorbed very quickly by the circuit. See this high? That is the Bermuda high. This is going to ride the axis of it and be basically slung off to the north and northeast, and this is the capital of Bermuda. Runs have been dodging back and forth, pretty consistently here over the last day or two. Tracks have this coming just to the west of Bermuda, and of course well to the east of the Outer Banks, so have some good waves along the eastern seaboard, but no imminent threat to the United States. This will, as you probably saw on that track, get to a major hurricane status, and models have increased. This doesn't surprise me. Initially, it was calling for a 2 or 3. No reason why it couldn't be a 4. Wind profiles are okay. You know, the sea surface temperatures are very warm. So there you have it. We've got the layout of Aaron, and if it stays a fish storm, that's great. Love looking at these things from afar. Just don't need them in our backyard. We certainly have no threat of anything tropical in the Gulf, which is good. One more look at the composite radar here. Again, we got thunderstorms in the Wiregrass. Otherwise, it's all to the east of I-65, and rain chances, as soon as these fizzle, are dropping into the weekend. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend ahead. Be safe, and we will see you next week for another update.